I need you to listen to me carefully because what I'm about to say may sound unbelievable at first, but it cost me years of my life, my finances, my peace, and almost my soul to learn this. There are objects in homes right now, ordinary, decorative, sentimental things that quietly drain prosperity, opportunity, and favor. And most people will stay poor, not because they don't work hard, not because they lack intelligence, but because they unknowingly agreed to spiritual contracts through what they allowed into their living space. My name is not important. What matters is who I used to be. I was a practicing witch for over a decade. Not the movie version. Not costumes and candles for fun. I'm talking about real rituals, real covenants, real assignments that were designed to keep bloodlines stuck in cycles of lack. I was trained to recognize gateways, objects that serve as legal entry points for spirits of poverty, delay, and devouring. And before you dismiss this as superstition, let me ask you something simple. Why do some people work non-stop and never move forward while others seem to experience favor they didn't even ask for? Why does money come into certain homes only to disappear through emergencies, repairs, sickness, or strange financial leaks? Why do some families stay poor for generations, no matter how educated or hardworking they become? When I left witchcraft and surrendered my life to Jesus Christ, I didn't just stop practicing rituals. I began to see the world differently. I started recognizing patterns. I started understanding why certain homes felt heavy, why some spaces felt chaotic, why others felt strangely resistant to peace and growth. And one of the most shocking realizations was this: poverty is often enforced spiritually before it ever manifests naturally. What I'm sharing today is not theory. These are 3 objects I personally used in rituals or assigned others to use that were designed to block wealth, delay breakthrough, and create endless financial struggle. Some of you already own these items. Some of you inherited them. Some of you think they're harmless decorations. But by the end of this video, you'll understand why your home may be fighting against you and how to break free. One of the biggest lies people believe is that the spiritual realm only responds to intentions, not objects. That is completely false. In witchcraft, objects are everything. They serve as anchors, physical permission slips that give spirits the right to operate in a space long after the ritual is finished. Think of it like this: the spiritual realm works on legality, not emotion. Spirits don't care how innocent you feel. They care about access. And access is often granted through symbolism, agreement, and placement. Your home is not just a shelter. Spiritually, it is an altar. Every home serves something, either intentionally or unintentionally. The layout, the items, the symbols, the images, all of it communicates allegiance. In witchcraft, we were taught that if you control the environment, you control the outcomes. That's why curses don't always look like chaos. Sometimes they look like stability without growth, a steady income that never increases, a business that survives but never thrives, money that comes in but never stays. That is the signature of a spirit of poverty. It doesn't want you homeless. It wants you tired, dependent, and stuck. The first object is one that almost no one suspects. Symbolic idols sold as protection, luck, or heritage decor. These include statues, figurines, masks, or carvings tied to ancient cultures, ancestral spirits, or mythological entities. In witchcraft, these are not decorations. They are representatives. They act as thrones, resting places for spirits invited through admiration or symbolism. I personally participated in rituals where these objects were activated to enforce financial ceilings. The assignment was simple: keep the household under constant consumption. Car repairs, medical bills, unexpected expenses, enough money to survive, but never to build. Here's the dangerous part. Many of these objects are passed down through families. They're called family pieces, heirlooms, cultural artifacts. But spiritually, they function as legal claims over bloodlines. They say, this household is under our covering. People would tell me, but I don't worship it. That doesn't matter. In witchcraft, acknowledgement is enough. Display is agreement. Placement is permission. And poverty spirits love homes that prioritize symbolism over discernment. The second object shocks people because it feels practical. Broken furniture, old electronics, non-functional appliances, boxes of unused items stored for years, just in case. In witchcraft, clutter is not neutral. It represents stagnation. We were taught that unused objects hold spiritual residue, especially items tied to disappointment, loss, or deferred hope. There are rituals specifically designed to delay prosperity by encouraging hoarding without function. The goal is to create an atmosphere where nothing flows, energy gets trapped, momentum dies. Spiritually, this sends a message: nothing lives, nothing grows. I remember performing assignments where the instruction was to keep people emotionally attached to broken things. Because someone who refuses to let go of what no longer works will struggle to receive what does. This creates poverty cycles that feel psychological, but they're enforced spiritually. New opportunities feel risky. Abundance feels unsafe. Growth feels unfamiliar. And the house becomes a physical manifestation of delay. The third object is subtle but powerful mirrors and artwork that distort identity, emotion, or reality. This includes abstract art with chaotic themes, images that evoke sadness, struggle, or confusion, and mirrors placed to reflect doorways, beds, or entrances. In witchcraft, mirrors are portals, not metaphorically, functionally. They are used for monitoring, reinforcement, and self-distortion rituals. When placed incorrectly, they amplify insecurity and self-sabotage. And this directly affects money because identity always comes before income. Spirits of poverty attack self-perception first. If you don't see yourself as worthy of increase, you'll sabotage every opportunity. I've watched people pray for prosperity while living in environments that constantly remind them of struggle. And the spirits laugh because the house is preaching a different sermon than their mouth. Poverty spirits are patient. They don't rush. They work through cycles, generation to generation. They attach themselves to narratives like, "We've always struggled. Money never stays. This is just how life is." And objects are their anchors. Remove the anchor, and the spirit loses legal ground. That's why deliverance often starts with physical action. In the Bible, people destroyed idols, burned occult objects, and cleansed their homes, not because the items had power, but because they represented agreements. You cannot pray your way out of an agreement you're still hosting. I'm not telling you to panic. I'm telling you to discern. Walk through your home slowly. Ask God to reveal anything that doesn't belong, anything tied to fear, lack, confusion, or false protection. Remove it. Dispose of it. Don't sell it. Don't pass it on. Break the agreement. Then reclaim your home verbally. Speak life. Speak blessing. Declare that your house serves the Lord and that lack has no legal right to remain. When I did this in my own life, the change wasn't instant, but it was undeniable. Opportunities opened. Favor followed. Peace replaced heaviness. Not because I became perfect, but because I became free. Let me be clear before I end this. This is not about superstition. It's about awareness. The enemy doesn't need your belief. He needs your permission. And permission is often hidden in plain sight. If this message unsettled you, that's not a coincidence. If it offended you, ask yourself why. And if it exposed something in your home, don't ignore it. Because freedom doesn't come from working harder. It comes from removing what's working against you. This is the restoration path. And restoration